slips
How's it going, everybody? Oh, let me turn this off real quick here. I was actually listening to this lecture, not a lecture, it was rather a collection of, I guess a collection of different little, like, speeches or parts of speeches from Terence McKenna. And all my subscribers we all have different interests, and people found me through different avenues. Some of you found me through Kratom, some of you found me through religious videos, maybe somebody found me through, the McKenna, like the McKenna group that I joined and everything. And some people through Manly Hall. Now, Terence McKenna and Manly Hall are two great speakers, completely different people. Manly Hall thinks that drugs are like the scourge of the world, whereas Terence thinks they're the answer to all our problems. And these guys are like two extreme polar opposites. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry if I'm scattered in this video, because I came out here and I had like 3 different things that I wanted to talk about. And I just got all confused as to which one to talk about. So I took a few notes like I used to. I stopped taking notes because I have a book just loaded with them, and I'd be like, okay, I've got to talk about this and this and this because it's on my mind. And I figure the most prominent things will remain in my head. So here's what I've got for today. I'll start off with my original intention to make this video, which was I got an email today from this Transforming into the New Paradigm is what it's called. It's leading edge wisdom assisting the emerging new paradigm. It's transformationparadigm.com. Now, I made a few videos about these guys, months back, and maybe a few of my subscribers might remember a specific incident where I had made a video after I had actually confronted this lady who sent the emails and said, how can you do this and charge people hundreds of dollars for a web course claiming that they're going to be enlightened and have some sort of, great awakening? And if it's true, shouldn't you be doing it for a reasonable price, if not free? Because all the spiritual teachers in the past who have been worth a damn have not been people who are about making money. But I understand it costs money to put on productions and to do these things. But from a guy who understands how, the real world works, having a webcast shouldn't cost money. And if people can bring people into this and they really want to change, they'll do it for a reasonable cost. So I sent the lady an email, and she started justifying it by saying, it costs money, yada, yada, yada. Basically, I shamed her, and she threatened me. And she's like, well, I'll remove you from the list, and we won't give you any more emails. So they continued to send me emails. And I know I started off this video with talking about McKenna, and the reason why is because when I got this email, I'm going to see I don't know if you'll be able to see this on there. Transforming into the New Paradigm, okay? Awakening the Cosmic Christ, or what is it? Arrival of the Cosmic Christ, the Jesus Star Child Disclosure, and the Watchers and Essenes. Now, these are subjects that I'm aware of and that I've seen the type of crap that people say about the Essenes. I mean, what these guys are doing, these people are taking these old mystery school and Rosicrucian and Freemasonry and all these mysterious ideas and putting them all together in this big package and pretending like it's something new that they're only privy to. And it's pretty shameful, some of the stuff that they're saying. I can only guess they're just totally making it up. And the reason why I figured it was that I had to make this video is because I came out here to make the video talking about this video about the Cosmic Christ Star Child Disclosure, because they're saying basically, that Jesus was an alien. And when I came out here, Terence McKenna was on I have my my old Zune. It's like 30 gigabytes on shuffle, and it's got all kinds of lectures and music. It just happened to be on a Terence McKenna one where he was talking about Jesus, and then it kind of switched to another McKenna lecture where he was talking about UFOs, extraterrestrials, and basically it was like. It's another non-surprising, thing that happens to me, synchronicities. If you're open to it, you'll run into them. But also I know that these are subject matter that I've been into in the past. Anyway, it started about an hour ago. Before that, actually, I was watching a video from a guy who was talking about these 2 channels. One's Third Phase of Moon, and the other one is above top secret. Or, wait, no, it wasn't that one. It was something else. Anyway, two YouTube channels who are basically disinformation channels, if you will. They're UFO channels that are putting out all types of, things that they claim are the truth. And most of this is, I haven't decided after talking with this guy whether these channels and these people really believe what they're saying, or whether they're just doing it for the money, or whether they're actually disinfo people, agents. But it doesn't matter. The point is that the stuff they're putting out, these are guys that are in their basements making videos claiming that they're the only ones that know what's really going on with super top secret programs, and they make these prophecies, and every year they fail and they go on to the next thing. And people never stop and ask why. People see a person saying something that seems to have a lot of gusto behind what they're saying, and people believe it. It's disturbing because I've realized one thing in my life I try not to do is I've tried to never say this is the truth and this is a fact of the way it is. And by not doing that, I don't get a lot of, retaliation. But when I am saying things are truth or things aren't the truth, you get a lot of feedback from people. And it becomes a confrontational issue because truth in these types of matters is a very complicated thing. And people take advantage of this. You should know YouTube channels who have these UFO videos, who get tens of thousands of subscribers and thousands of views every day, they do make money by putting ads on their channels. And if you find a major UFO channel that doesn't have ads, and if you have ad blocker, you'll obviously not run into them, but if you find a major channel that doesn't have some sort of a sponsored content or ads, then they might be a trustworthy news source, or at least a source of information. But you have to ask yourself, why would a person do it for free? Yet, if a person is doing it for money, they have to fulfill the expectations of the viewers. And that's something people forget, that if there's no news about UFOs that week, they got to find something to talk about. So when I started my channel, I thought at one time it would be cool to get into a certain subject and get a lot of subs, and I stopped myself short and realized that then I would have expectations about a certain subject matter. And by not having ads and not having anything to do with any companies or corporate entities, or even trying to make money from YouTube himself, I don't have any clash of interest. I can talk about whatever I want. Now, that's why I make videos like this, to try to expose people. Not because I'm trying to prove I'm right, or to say these guys are wrong, I've got the truth. It's to say, hey, if you're going to say something is true, then you better have better info than what you're presenting. I sent this lady an email from this Transforming the Paradigm thing, and a while back, it was like 6 months ago, and I was telling her, I said I've studied the mystery schools extensively, and there's very little information to go on. People talk about things like the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, or Hermes, if you will, which are basically, you can buy the book and it's just like 30 different versions of the exact same, 10 statements, and people find these ancient wisdom and ancient history, these little bits and pieces, and then they make these bold claims that they have some inner working and knowledge about the world and the mystery schools, or they understand the truth behind occult symbolism, or really understand what it means when a person says, hey, what's behind this story? I'm just going to put it this way. Sometimes I've seen people get so wrapped up in the symbology, as well as maybe whether it be a UFO story or a religious story or occult knowledge, to where they get so wrapped up into it, they start to believe that their truth is more important than being able to convey that truth. Which means if the subject matter that you're dealing with is too far-fetched or too wild of a notion, then people are going to either A, completely ignore it, or they're going to B, question you on it and confront it and say that's totally not true, sometimes without doing the research and sometimes with. But my point here, to try to keep it simple, is that if you're going to convey knowledge and wisdom and try to share it with people, it should be something that each person can embrace and understand within their own mind and their own framework. This is something that I believe it was Manly Hall said. He said, religion is no good unless the God is good. unless the general meaning behind the religion is that existence and life, prospering, flourishing, being happy, that these are values within the religion. And this is what's happened with Christianity, with the ones who have taken the angry God approach, the old world version that, that we are suffering because of the sins of mankind, and that Jesus suffered for us and we need to repent, and that we're bad people and that we're sinners. And this type of thinking is what brings forth like societal guilt. And you look back and people have been capitalizing on this from the beginning of time, from the beginning of religious history anyway. You might have heard of, in the Catholic Church, they have what they used to call, I hate it when the words slip my mind, but you could buy these, whatever they weren't dividends, they were some kind of it was like buying a miracle or buying a prayer. If you did something bad, you could buy these things from the church, which would allow you to commit a sin and be forgiven for that sin, as long as you'd bought that. And the church was selling these things to people. The church has been making money by selling people things like this, and they still are. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to attack religion here. My point for bringing that up was that religion is no different often than some of these groups who are claiming to understand the religion better, because what's happened is there's an entire culture, an entire generation of people who are disillusioned with the religion they were brought up with. And they realize now that it's not what they thought, that maybe there's something to the Bible, or maybe there's something to whatever religion they're part of. I guess Christianity is the dominant one, which is why I keep mentioning it, at least in my country. But that once they realize that they've been disillusioned, they go full bore against Christianity and get really angry. But then maybe step back and realize, okay, there's something to learn from the Bible, that there are some metaphors in there, that there are some stories. And then they go out seeking the meaning behind it. And then they end up with people like this, who their entire theme basically is to attract people like that, people who are kind of between, who don't really have a spiritual practice or a religion, but really want to believe in something. So I'm just going to read a little bit of it, because I haven't read it myself, but these guys, I'm going to flip to the bottom and see. Registration, this is the cheapest one I've seen. It's $33. Oh boy, the number of people that have fun with that. 33. It's a 4-hour workshop on December 5th for $33. Now this is an online workshop, so how many people are signed up, who knows. I've looked at some of the prices on their cruises and stuff, where they'll have like an Egypt, Nile Truth cruise or something, and they charge like thousands of dollars. And I'm thinking, well, are they really doing this to get information, or is it all about getting together with a bunch of people who have money, who claim to be spiritual? And I hate to be so, I don't like to point the finger, because I'm the kind of guy who says, if people are happy with what they believe, so be it. But when there's people sucking money out of people for hopes and dreams that they're claiming to manifest your purpose in life, is what they're claiming, that they're going to show you. Okay, so it says, the Jesus disclosure, the Watchers and the Essenes. Was Jesus an alien? It's the ultimate unanswered question of ancient alien theory. It's time for serious exploration. Be prepared, the answer is far more profound and cosmic than most realize. Take their interstellar journey into the untold story of the cosmic Christ. Investigative mythologist, author, and spiritual voice of ancient aliens, William Henry returns to Portal of Ascension to disclose the extraordinary secrets of the mysteries and the origins of Jesus in the greatest story never told. Well, set this back up here. Goes on to talk about this Williams guy. Oh, then it has a little thing. Are you curious about the identity of the angels who accompanied him? Is it possible that there's a deeper Stargate metaphysics encoded in this story? Could modern science be on the verge of revealing the ultimate secrets of Jesus? The message of love in this cosmic being is stupendously illustrated in this 2-hour webinar. William reveals that Jesus was a celestial being. His incarnation was planned for generation. His birth was a cosmic event. It was performed by the Essenes, and it goes on and on and on. Light bodies, DNA programming. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to be too detailed into this picking at these particular people, because they're one of many groups who I ask myself, are they as delusional as it seems? or are they really taking advantage of people to make money? And that's one of the hardest things to understand, because it's a perpetual system which feeds itself. I know how this works. A person wants to, they get into something, and like, say they're into spiritual teaching or metaphysics, and they don't want to make money. They're not about making money. They just want to make a living doing what they love. So maybe they pursue a certain avenue within this, and they find people who they try to perform healing on their friends or something, and one of their buddies says, wow, that really seemed to work. And then the people do it a few more times and start to believe themselves that they're healers, when, by basically ignoring the times when they don't heal or don't help, say, well, it doesn't always work. It's just an example. And then over time they start to really believe that they're healers. Now, I'm not saying there aren't healers. I'm saying that a person who deludes themselves, then over time they start holding these online things, and pretty soon they whenever they get negative feedback or someone who questions them, they say, oh, well, you just don't understand. Because they believe that they have attained a certain level of understanding that others just don't get. And this is where the spiritual arrogance comes in. Many of these people who claim to be very spiritual, or that are seekers, that make the approach, that claim to be down to earth, tend to be some of the most, what I call, floaty people. Like, oh, you don't need to hurt or harm anyone, and everything's just fine and dandy. And that attitude only works in a society where everyone is, I guess, where the other people deal with the brunt of the harshness. In other words, a person who wants to be very, very calm and never get angry, a person who tries to, let's say, approach life with no anger. Sure, it's great and dandy for a single individual who doesn't live with anyone, but if you're a person who has 5 roommates, or you've got 3 kids screaming in the background, then trying not to raise your voice or get angry, it's not easy. And becoming, they would point the finger at others by saying, well, you could be like me. And this is the problem. Things like this webinar where, they're claiming, to tell you what Jesus really was. Well, can't you just send the email out and tell everyone what Jesus was? I mean, because what I'm getting from a lot of these folks is that what seems to be important to these truthers is revealing the truth, okay? And this is where it all comes together here, the main point of this argument. These truthers are claiming they want to tell you the truth, but they're not going to do it until next week, or in the next installment, or the next episode, or click over here, or hey, if you buy my book, I'll show you the truth. And knowing that the greatest knowledge lies in knowing you know nothing, which means that as we age, as we educate ourselves, as we gain wisdom, we kind of scoff at our old selves that thought we knew everything, and we step back. At least, hopefully, this is what I've done. Step back and realize that I know a shitload of stuff, but there's a shitload more that I don't know. And having that, I can sit back and listen to a story and say, okay, I'm either going to base my opinion on reason, or I'm going to make up some reason to justify why it's wrong based on what I think is right. And by remaining neutral in religion and politics, it doesn't affect me. By remaining neutral in the way that I handle other people or my personal interaction with people, I remain happier. By not allowing what people tell me or say to me or tell me how to live my life, by not letting that get to me, I've learned how to be happier. These are the most important, crucial things. How we behave, how we handle ourselves in this life is crucial. I don't care if you're a Christian or an atheist. I don't care if you believe you're going to heaven or you're going to die. The point being, this life here is the life that we're living now, and we have to embrace it. I heard someone say earlier something about materialism, and how it got me thinking about how we have pushed ourselves away from materialism like it's something bad. That somehow we're put here on this 3-dimensional plane to test our will to see if we're really going to eat the pie, or if we're really going to take the plunge, or if we're really going to spend the money. And you know what? I say eat the pie, spend the money. But do it with the wisdom and the knowledge that comes with years of accrued experiences, that tells us that having the money doesn't mean buying yourself a $50,000 car when you don't need it. It might mean giving a guy $50 by the swimming pool who looks like he could use, some homeless guy sitting, it's a swimming pool, sitting on the corner, or maybe not. Maybe it's giving a little bit to a charity Or the money all aside, maybe it means that you have the extra money to where you don't have to work that day, to where you can donate your time to help someone or do something. I had someone leave a comment earlier on an older video. I don't know if it was my video or what. And I had been talking with someone a year or so ago about manifesting reality, and how I was saying that group prayer really does work. It's been shown to, well, I'm not going to get into, I won't be able to show you an actual link to show how it works, but people who have looked into it realize that mass groups who do a prayer or an intention experiments believe that they may have an effect on their environment. And somebody said to the effect, he said, just to be kind of a smartass, he said, well, how do I manifest trees? And I thought, I've got this one. I said, go out and plant some seeds. You'd be amazed. In a century, you might create a whole forest. And then he says, well, what about the world? And I said, make some friends. Have them plant some trees. Now, of course, this is just metaphoric, but he was being literal. I was saying that's a really bad example. If I could think of a million things I could intend on, like a diamond castle or whatnot, just saying trees, something that's just so simple. I want to fix the forests. Go plant trees. Get a bunch of people together to plant trees. That, my point here is that intention and manifesting a reality is something that takes time. And as a society, we can't expect that we're all going to jump into truth and just know what's right and what's wrong. That we're not going to be able to just have the internet at our disposal and just say, okay, now we know what's a fraud and what's a hoax. As technology and we have more access to technology and to truth, there's also a lot more CGI, there's a lot more lies, and a lot more creative stories that could be easily taken as truth. So people get overwhelmed. They don't know what to believe. They don't know if Jesus was an alien. They don't know if aliens even exist. Or, people talk about alien abduction. There's so many different avenues on that. Some people say that, they're the Greys, that they're machines, that are, they're actually hybrids that are, that are investigating us for another alien race. Some people say that they're a different particular alien race. Some people say it's our own government doing experiments under the guise of UFOs. Some people say that there's no such thing as an actual, alien abduction, but rather that we just go through an intense DMT experience, which seems like an alien abduction. And then you get into near-death experiences, which in their descriptions are almost identical to near-death, to DMT experience, which is almost identical to an alien abduction. And then people who smoke DMT claim to see these insectoid creatures. And I gotta say that I'm bringing DMT in here because it's the only endogenous compound, psychedelic compound, that's produced by our brains. And like LSD and psilocybin, they mimic serotonin and enter those receptor sites and are similar to serotonin, whereas DMT is DMT. It's produced and synthesized by all plants and animals, almost all. And it's just one of those pervasive chemicals that people wonder, is this what's happening? Is the DMT within our systems creating many of the delusions that people are having and the things that they're believing? And we may never know. I mean, people want to believe in something, and people want to teach people something. So the best thing we can do is just educate ourselves and be smart about it. So this video is really long, so if anybody stuck with me this long, peace. Have a great day. And I'll be talking to you soon. I always got